Good morning, everyone. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the daily forecast. It is for all signs. It is a broad spectrum reading, or actually, this is the weekly forecast. It is for all signs. It is a broad spectrum reading. You need to figure out if and where it fits in your life, if at all. If it doesn't fit, nothing's wrong or broken. You're not, on the wrong path or anything like that. This just may not be your reading at this time. It is originally created for the week of April 9th through the 15th. It is not solely set for that date, so those dates, if you're seeing it on a different day or different time and it still makes sense to your situation, by all means utilize the reading. I believe readings can be timeless and find us when we need them rather than when they were originally created for. Each of the three main cards from the tarot deck are going to represent for maybe a day or two, possibly three for each of you. You will all be, experiencing these cards differently. You have to figure out if and where it applies, right? Some of you may experience only one of these cards. Some of you might experience all of these cards and then some. There's really a kind of take what you need and leave the rest, perspective with this kind of reading. So just sort of listen in and see if it fits. It is kind of to give us a little bit of, a look into the underpinning energy of what's going on maybe in the environment or the energies around us as we go from day to day in the daily reading. For those of you that are new, please check out the drop-down menu underneath any of my daily or weekly videos. In there is some housekeeping information, things I want you to think about when utilizing the channel, what decks I'm using for the reading, and what else? Easy ways to support the channel. Sorry, I'm really tired and it's really cold and dreary here today. Easy ways to support the channel. You can do so by hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. That notifies you whenever I put up new content, which I do put up daily content. Sharing the video out, leaving me a question or comment. All of this stuff greatly helps the channel and supports it. I do have a Patreon if you would want to have access to the reading a day early. You can join my Patreon over there if you're interested in that. And also you can follow me on Instagram or at my Facebook business page if you're interested in a private reading. By all means, message me at either of those two places. Know that I will never reach out to you to sell you a reading, so if anybody ever were to do that, it's not me. You would have to instigate, pursuing a private reading. All right, so let's get into these cards and see what they want us to know for this week. Okay, so for our beginning of the week card, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Interesting Nine of Pentacles. No? I mean, this is a card of independence, right? She's a woman. It's always depicted by a single woman sort of standing in a field. This woman, though, to me feels very internal. Much more so than an atypical Nine of Pentacles. It's probably that mask that she's wearing that makes me feel that. There feels like there's a little bit of withdrawal happening here. And this being Pentacles would mean that we would be grounded, centered, discerning, focusing on maybe ourselves more so than other people, other situations. I also get this instinct to want to say that some of us might be looking at situations from the past or things that we've just come through. I think that because this is the Nine of Pentacles, we've come through rather strong. Let me rephrase that. We've come through it and we've learned something and we're stronger for having gone through it. It may have worked us a little bit for some of you. And I feel like, I don't normally get this feeling, this card, the art of this card is making me feel more like, say, a Four of Swords, where we go inward. But because this is Pentacles and because the Nine of Pentacles represents sort of independent strength, making our own decisions, having our own assets at our disposal, understanding that that's like the traditional meaning of the Nine of Pentacles. We don't necessarily need anyone or anything to provide us with what we need. We have it within ourselves. But I get this deeply introspective feeling from this card. The mask is one part of it. The hands clasped at the heart is the other part of it, right? There's a certain almost spirituality or And her red hair kind of around her throat almost creates a light, and this little flower says to me, like, I get this feeling like we've been put through not the ringer, but we've been put through situations that we might be reflecting upon in the early part of this week that indicate to us a little bit about our own strength, our own awareness, our own achievements, our own ability to sort of stand strong within that. And I also get this sort of feeling that she, to me, as I'm looking at her, I feel like she is recollecting, in a sense, to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't know if coming to terms is the right perception or the right word or phrase, but it feels to me like she is coming to, and it is a 9, so she would be coming to some semblance of a completion around a situation, right? Her body being pointed to what I consider to be the past. There could be a fair amount of reflection, but this reflection, I think, gives us strength and allows us to see the new growth and possibility that's coming in, maybe in smaller forms. That's that little flower there. It's drawing my attention, but we're aware. The other thing about this that feels really introspective is that she's cloaked, right? She's almost like pulled herself in and back and into her own strength, into her own groundedness, into her own connection to self, and understanding that everything that we need within that connection to self is available to us. It's strong, it's powerful, it's steady, right? That's that nice, steady, earthy Pentacles energy. Let's look at the midweek. We have the 5 of Air. This is the 5 of Swords. This is the most beautiful 5 of Swords I have ever seen. And I don't know what is going on with these cards. It's the art today that's really pulling me. I love the blue. I love the white. I feel like she's dancing. The 5 of Swords. This 5 of Swords traditionally is about, it can be about alienation. It can be about how we communicate in our thoughts. It can be about somebody either fighting with us or trying to push their point across, or us trying to do the same within a situation, but we run the risk of kind of alienating them, or alienating ourselves, because there's always, in a traditional tarot deck, 2 people walking away from sort of the melee, and although the winner has all of the swords, he kind of takes a loss at some point, right? Because the people that he might be trying to prove his point to are not listening. They're departing. They're leaving, right? But with this particular card, I feel a lightness, a joy. 5s are transitions, right? And so we see these doves flying around, and to me, doves are birds of peace. Doves are purity, right? Because they're that white sort of, peaceful bird. And when I look at her, I almost get this sense that we might be rising above whatever sort of altercation, conflict, difference of opinion that might be going on around us. And I think part of the reason why I'm feeling that is because that 9 of Pentacles feels so sort of introspective and strong. We're very much like steadfast and aware of what we have, what we need. And then this 5, to me, she feels like she's almost pivoting, turning, pirouetting, like the card shows, and moving to the future, right? Her body is now shifted towards the future with a sort of renewed, maybe outlook, thought pattern, communication that will propel us forward. She looks like she's ready to take flight to me. She looks like she's light, airy. This blue color to me feels very almost joyous in a way, uplifting. And that's not necessarily a 5 of Swords traditional meaning. The clouds down there in the bottom corner of the card also indicate there might be some clarity coming to us in the midweek around maybe how we think, how we communicate, or how others are thinking and communicating around us, that almost sets us free. I feel like maybe these other doves here, although doves, are peaceful birds, these might have been opinions or ideas, communications from others that may have been trying to, entrap is a strong word, but they feel like, to me, and I'm all in the feels this morning, I guess I'm like feeling this through my empathy as I'm looking at this art. It feels like those doves represent maybe the opinions of others, the needs of others, the thoughts or communications of others that were trying to get our attention, but they truly can't. She's rising above it. She's transitioning out of it. She is pirouetting or finding her own truth, her own joy, and she's dancing within that. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And I feel like that awareness or that sort of lightness, that higher vibration that this woman feels like she's keeping as she's pirouetting, she's standing on that tiptoe, right? To me, that point shoe makes me feel like high vibration, ballerina, grace, handling situations with grace and ease. Even if those situations feel like they're trying to maybe pull us in different directions, like I feel like these doves are like, hey, look at me, over here, no, I need you for this. But she's like, no, not today, I'm going this way. And so if we find ourselves in communications or situations that are trying to pull us down, I don't think that they're going to be successful, is my feeling. I feel like we will rise and we will move forward, and it's almost like in this rising or in this higher vibration we're kind of gaining our wings and the ability to take flight and move forward, right? By paying attention to the present and then positioning ourselves and our thoughts, our communications towards where it is we want to go or how it is we want it to be for ourselves. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now let's look at the end of the week card. Interesting. The Six of Wands. Beautiful Six of Wands. These balloons, kind of the first thing I thought were hearts. They almost look like hearts to me, all the little smaller balloons. The wands would indicate it's fire and it's the spirit, correct? And so wands can sometimes indicate travel. The Six of Wands, traditionally, sorry to keep going to all the traditional stuff, but I'm just getting different messages from this art, so I'm kind of comparing and contrasting between what would be in a traditional tarot and the meaning of that, and then what I'm feeling from the art of this, and I'll explain this one too. The Six of Wands is about being sort of celebrated, acknowledged. It's a man on a white horse of purity, right? Heading through a crowd. There's victory wreaths. Wands are about being, you know, the spirit. So we're being acknowledged. It's usually depicted as like sort of a victory parade coming back from a long battle. Everybody's celebrating and noticing that person. And so that's oftentimes the indication of that. Again, I get this sense of rising from this main balloon here. And I also feel like these balloons to me look like hearts. I feel like we're going to end out the week in a very warm, loving place. That's the color tone that I'm getting from this. It feels heartfelt, it feels secure. Sixes to me are about balance. And this also feels like it's got a lightness to it, a rising effect similar to this woman that's in the Five of Swords. And I like that we go from a 5 to a 6, right? Where our mind clears and where we rise above, we almost open the door for our spirit to clear and rise above and continue the journey forward in love, in acknowledgement, in positivity, right? And there is this warmth and action, sort of the redness also makes me think of action. And it's forward movement. Fire is kind of that dynamic energy of moving forward. Sometimes it can be depicted as impulsivity, but I don't get this from that. And the other interesting thing that really drew my attention when I first looked at this card is the roundness of this here feels like a complete circle or a full whole. Like, in other words, we're feeling full and whole, almost complete. Maybe we're honoring ourselves or acknowledging ourselves. That could be the acknowledgement aspect of the Six of Wands. And I also love that it looks like a boat to me, which to me takes me to the realm of the emotions, right? Or that of water. So it's like our spirit is this balloon that is full of, not hot air, but it's full of itself in a good way, and it's lifting our boat up and able to move our boat forward, or our emotional navigation system in a sense, through the end of the week from this place of love. What's interesting to me is that there's those 5 birds over there, and we see these 5 or 4 birds, the doves there. This almost feels like these could be those doves transforming into spaces of love, because we're acknowledging ourselves first and foremost, first mentally in the midweek, physically at the beginning of the week, right? Mentally in the midweek, and then spiritually by the end of the week, to where the situation almost transforms. It feels like these doves here, oh, actually there is 5 doves. These doves transform into these 5 balloons, which to me look like hearts, and doves, you know, can be associated with love and peace. So there's a transformation here that takes place that feels rather profound. It feels fulfilling. It feels, what's the word I'm looking for? That big orange balloon, it almost looks like a fruit to me, like a pumpkin or a cantaloupe, like it's abundant, it is nourishing, it is, but it's also light and what is lifting us up and moving us forward from a place of compassion, acknowledgement, celebration even, because 6 of Wands can be very much about celebrating ourselves, or being celebrated through others, them seeing us in that way. So I really feel like this is a beautiful week for self-awareness, transitioning our thoughts and what we communicate to a higher vibration, and then really living from that place and feeling it at a very deep level within our spirit, so that propels us forward by the end of the week in a very positive direction. Okay? Let's look at the Rose Oracle and see what they have to say. Interesting. First thing I think when I see this is I see these 3 women and I think 3 of Cups. Even though it's not the 3 of Cups, but these 3 women remind me of the 3 of Cups card, which is always a card, again, of celebration, loved ones, relationships, communication, coming together. The 3 women also bring me to that idea of the number 3, which is the mind, body, spirit connection, right? And being in alignment. This is the Temple of the Rose, ancient power, expression, activation, and scarlet codes. I used to dance under that name, Scarlet Codes, just to pay my way through college. I'm just kidding. I don't know what the Scarlet Codes are. It's probably some sort of a starseed thing because this is a Rebecca Campbell deck. But I love that this is about ancient wisdom, connecting to oneself, knowing our own truth, and living from that place. Like I said, I feel like there is a self-actualization happening here. And in that actualization, these 3 women kind of come together, our mind, body, spirit, and sort of join mind, body, spirit. I just noticed that too. The mind would be the 5 of Swords, the body would be the 9 of Pentacles, and the spirit would be the 6 of Wands. Kind of coming together and becoming our truth, right? The Temple of the Rose is sort of like our own spiritual house, our own spiritual truth, in who we are, how we feel, what we communicate, and how that transforms the situations in our lives. I just want to look at the words one more time. Expression, activation, ancient power. This is within us, right? This is, I feel like this is like a coming together, and that ancient power is like the power of our soul, our spirit speaking through us at a mental level and even at a physical level. And the blending of that brings about this sort of activation and this truth that moves us forward and transforms maybe how we relate to situations, how we're seen in situations, how we engage in situations. That is very beneficial to us. Let's look at the clarifiers. I hope this is making sense, guys. You'll have to let me know in the comments. We have the 6 of Wands. This is the depiction I was just telling you about for this card. Now, I can go over all of the descriptions of the 6 of Wands, but I'm not going to. But what I do want to say is the first thing that kicks off in my brain when I see this is this horse is headed to the future. Similar to this dancer here, and similar to like how this is lifting up and moving the boat, right? Or our emotional navigation system. We have our mind, our body, our spirit, and even through that boat in the 6 of Wands, there's a nod to our emotional body being kind of pivoted, moved, carried in a way to a better place. And I feel like that's what's going on here with this horse. He's moving us forward to a space of more balance, to a space of more spiritual centeredness this week, to a space of more awareness of ourselves, our gifts, our, you know, even if it's our acknowledgement of ourselves through our own perception of self, we're going to do that. It's going to be powerful. All right, let's just say that. Let's go to the next clarifier. Jesus, the 10 of Cups. So here's our emotions representing now. This is that boat that I'm talking about. The pursuit of this to me, tens are about completions, obviously, and the cups are the emotions. This is about the happily ever after card. This can be about us heading towards, because that, I feel a little, I don't know if I'm being scattered and this is making sense, but I feel like that horse is heading towards this Ten of Cups. We're steering our boat or our balloon. We're dancing our way through the Five of Swords by the midweek towards our Ten of Cups, towards what brings us completion, emotional contentment, a sense of wholeness, a sense of, you know, honoring our emotions, how we feel, what we want, what we desire, and really having that. Let's look at the last clarifier really quick. We have the King of Pentacles. Oftentimes associated with the signs of the earth signs, right? We have Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. King of Pentacles is a master manifester, guys. He is generous, loving, strong, grounded, and I love that I have to say this, the key thing that I noticed from him is his face and where it's positioned. It's like looking off into the distance. So what I feel like this is the Six of Wands is our spirit, or us acknowledging our spiritual desire, what it is that we want, what it is that we deserve, moving towards that pleasure, that joy, that happiness, that release, that emotional completion of the Ten of Cups. And from that emotional well-being and good feeling, we begin to look out onto the horizon and start to think, okay, what do I manifest into my world in the 3D? Because it is the King of Pentacles. We have his energy, his power, his ability to ground this sort of not ground the high vibrational energy, but bring it down into the 3D and have it begin to work for us in manifesting abundance, because we see all of these grapes on his gown here. He's in charge, he's an authority, and he's almost looking to the future, and this castle is back here in the background, but it's also in the future. So there's like almost like new opportunities, new beginnings, maybe the castle represents a relationship or a job or a new definition in how we are in our world. But whatever it is, to me, it's strong, it's grounded, it's well deserved, right? And we need to understand that and acknowledge that for ourselves, or allow others to through both of these Six of Wands this week, and embrace it, truly feel it, own it, make it yours. Let's go to the grounding stone. This is a really beautiful reading. Like, for those of you that maybe have been struggling, I feel like the struggle might be over. There's a little bit of contemplation, right, in the beginning of the week, but through that, she's almost giving me, also with all this green too, it's the heart chakra, but I'm going to say she's also giving me a little bit of hermit vibes or high priestess vibes, right? That sort of internal spiritual wisdom, even though this is the Nine of Pentacles. I think that, like, this is about reflection in the early part of the week, but we're good. We are really, really good. We're solid, and we are moving forward no matter what. And then here is our, was this not yesterday? This was yesterday's grounding stone at the end of the week. It's vision. On obsidian, which in its darkness, in its blackness, it is a purity. It wards off any negativity. That's kind of why I feel like the doves can't really get to us, why we can rise. Grounding in our vision of what it is that we know to be true, what it is we feel within our hearts, in our souls, in our spirit, in our emotions, in our mind, shifting that and almost like pinpointing it to the vision of how we want it to feel, how we want it to look, how we want to be acknowledged or validated. We can give that to ourselves this week, is my feeling, especially leading with the Nine of Pentacles, because she is one of independence and having everything that she needs. That might be the internal work that's going on in that Nine of Pentacles. It's like, it feels like we might need to go inward and honor ourselves and see the wealth and abundance of what we can provide for ourselves, and then start to act on it mentally through the Five of Swords, and then really truly allow our spirit to guide us through the Six of Wands towards our emotional kind of happiness and well-being through the Ten of Cups. Does that make sense? So hold on to the vision this week, guys. That's what we want to do. I can't wait to see how these cards transform throughout this week. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and we'll see how the energy builds on the daily readings. Have a wonderful week, you guys. It looks up to be amazing. All right, take care. Bye-bye.